Good morning, students. Welcome to the session on soft skills and employability. First of all, let me congratulate you on successfully completing one more year in your academic journey. Now, as you inch closer to your final destination of graduating and entering the professional world, there are certain skills that you need to inculcate in order to succeed in the path of your career. The skills that you are learning as part of your curriculum are of course valuable. But apart from those skills, there are other skills that you need to inculcate, you need to nurture in order to succeed in the long run. Today, I'm going to talk about those skills which we call as soft skills, which are extremely important for employability throughout the world. First of all, let us look at what are soft skills. Now, in order to understand what are soft skills, we need to understand what are hard skills. The curriculum that you follow in your respective departments train you in your hard skills. Hard skills are learnable, presentable skills, which will give you knowledge and qualifications. So they include skills like language knowledge, degrees, apprenticeships, certificates, accounting, typing techniques, machine operation, program learning, languages, and software knowledge. These kind of skills that you learn as part of your curriculum within the department, as part of your syllabus, are known as hard skills. Then what are soft skills? Soft skills are a set of skills that is a synonym for people skills. This term describes those personal attributes that indicate a high level of emotional intelligence. Unlike hard skills, which describe a person's technical skill set and ability to perform specific tasks, soft skills are broadly applicable across job titles and industries. It's often said that hard skills will get you an interview, but if you need to succeed in the long run, it is the soft skills that will help you keep the job. So if we can quote from different hiring managers and different entrepreneurs throughout the world, we'll see how they have emphasized on the importance of soft skills. For example, Peggy Claus says, soft skills get little respect but will make or break your career. And according to a recent Harvard study, around 85% of the skills that are required in a job are soft skills, and only 15% of the skills are accounted to be as hard skills. So students, I hope you understand how important soft skills are in your professional life. Why are they important? They're important because they do very important things. First of all, soft skills are required to handle interpersonal relationships. Secondly, soft skills are required to take appropriate decisions. Thirdly, soft skills are required to communicate effectively. And fourthly, soft skills are required to have an overall good impression and impact to gain professional development. So these are skills that are absolutely essential in any professional life. As we can see again from the recent study that has been done through different newspapers, we can see that 63% of all the jobs will be soft skills incentive by 2030. This is what the Deloitte Access Economics is saying. Then the Wall Street Journal says that 92% of the executives say that soft skills are equally important or more important than technical skills. And again, according to the Wall Street Journal, 89% of executives say that it is difficult to find people with soft skills. So if you do have soft skills, if you are able to nurture and inculcate soft skills in your training here and beyond, you will be invaluable in the field of the professional world that you are choosing. What are these soft skills that we require so much? Soft skills include communication, public speaking, leadership, teamwork, decision-making, time management, stress management, positive attitude, interpersonal skills, flexibility, work ethic, professionalism, responsibility, conflict management, and so on. These are skills that are not taught as part of your syllabus or curriculum, but these are skills that, if you have, will make you extremely valuable in the professional world. Let us look at some of those skills and how we can nurture those skills and build those skill sets in us. The first important soft skill that every student should have is the skill of effective communication. Communication skills are always on the top of the essential skill list in any job advertisement. So if you look at any job advertisement posted, you will see, along with technical skills, you will be asked to apply only when you have excellent communication skills. People with strong communication skills can build relationships, which starts from the initial building rapport through a long-term relationship. And they can listen well and vary their communication to suit the circumstances. Communication consists of verbal and non-verbal communications, as well as both listening and speaking skills. Always remember that communication is a two-way process. So speaking is important, but listening is equally important. The first aspect of verbal communication is to inculcate listening skills. Many a times we only hear, we do not listen. There is a difference between hearing and listening. When you are hearing things, you are just letting the sound get into your system, and you are not registering or actively thinking about the things that you are listening to. But when you are listening, especially when you are actively listening, along with the sound that is getting into your ears, you are also thinking critically, you are also making notes, you are also working on the things that you are listening to. So we must inculcate what we call as active listening skills, which include the following. First of all, asking open-ended questions, requesting clarification for things that you have not understood, being very attentive. Once we listen to something, we should be able to summarize, paraphrase, reflect the feelings of the speaker, be attuned to feelings, and ask probing questions. Only when one is able to do all of this after listening to something, we can say that that person has become an active listener. Otherwise, you are just hearing things, you are not listening. Now, what are the barriers to active listening? Now, with online classes, I'm sure all of you can make a distinction between what is hearing and what is active listening. There are many barriers to active listening. For example, negativity towards the speaker. The moment you have negativity towards the speaker, you have made up your mind not to open your mind to listen to what the speaker is saying. Secondly, partial listening. You are not listening to the full thing. Thirdly, lack of interest. The biggest barrier to active listening. When you are not interested, you will not be registering what you are listening. Fourthly, prejudgment. When you have already made up your mind, there is no way you are going to understand what the speaker is saying. Fifthly, diffidence. Sixth, intolerance. Seventh, deep-rooted beliefs. And again, a very important barrier to active listening, that is inadequate language base. If you are not able to follow the vocabulary of the speaker, you will not be able to listen actively. So as I mentioned, that communication skills do not include only speaking skills. Most of the times we emphasize most on spoken English, but that is not true. Listening actively, listening attentively, listening for some purpose is also equally important. Having said that, of course, verbal communication, the most important thing in verbal communication, of course, is speaking skills. And when we talk about speaking skills, when we talk about building speaking skills, nurturing speaking skills, we talk about building a good vocabulary from which you can draw your words when you are speaking. You should know how to use your voice in terms of the loudness of the voice, the volume of the voice, the tone of the voice, the pitch of the voice. Then you must have clarity in voice and content. Whatever you are speaking about, it should be very clear. Similarly, your voice should be clearly reaching your audience. Next, you should have audience awareness. Before speaking, you must know who your audience is. What is their age group? What socioeconomic background do they come from? Who are these people? Do they have a preset set of beliefs? All these things you need to understand in order to speak effectively. And last but not the least, the speaker should have an open mind. That means the speaker should be able to modify his speech or her speech according to the response of the audience. So these are very important speaking skills for verbal communication. It comes with practice. It comes with an awareness of how these skills should be inculcated. And thereby these skills become very valuable in the long run. One of the things that is often neglected but is very important is the skill of politeness and etiquette. Many a times in communication, this point is missing. We do communicate, but we are not polite enough. Politeness goes a long way in impressing people and in building an image for the speaker as somebody who's able to conduct himself or herself well. So let us understand how politeness can be brought in everyday conversations. Things that we say on an everyday basis can be said more politely. Let us look at some examples. So many a times when you are giving a command to somebody saying, finish the presentation. Instead of saying that, you can say, could you please finish the presentation? The simple change in speech where you just insert these three words, could you please, makes a difference in the attitude that you are conveying to your listener. Similarly, instead of saying, I need help with this project, if you put it as a question, a polite question, would you be able to help me with this project or assignment? That sounds much more polite. Again, when you are asking for something, instead of saying, I want water or I want the stapler, you can say, I would like the stapler, which sounds much more polite. Similarly, another example, telling somebody, meet me at 4. A more polite version of the same idea can be conveyed in the following sentence. If you say, shall we meet at 4? Again, many a times commands are given like, send me the file immediately, send me this document immediately. These kind of commands can be said more politely, again with a rephrasing, a simple rephrasing of the utterance. So you could say, please send me the file at your earliest convenience. What these kind of rephrasings do is that they create an environment of congeniality and they convey a very gentle, a very polite persona of you, projecting you as a person with manners, politeness, and etiquette. Let us look at some other examples. Suppose you do not like something, you want to express your opinion, and you say, this is bad. How can you say it more politely without offending the person to whom you are saying this is bad? Of course, nobody wants to listen that this is bad. So you can rephrase your saying and say, this could use some improvement. You have still given your feedback. You have still expressed yourself. But what you have done is that you have done that without offending the other person. Right? Similarly, instead of saying, you must do this, which is an imperative command kind of a sentence, you can actually be more polite and say, thanks in advance for your help. Again, instead of saying, I don't want to do that. Let me mention here that many a times saying no is also very important. You don't have to say yes to everything that is asked to be done. But again, saying a straightforward no, or saying no, I cannot do it, I don't want to do it, don't ask me to do it. Instead of saying these phrases, if you say, thanks, but I would rather not. That is a more polite way of rejecting an offer, of refusing or denying to do something. Similarly, many times we are frustrated when people don't understand us. And many times we would say it quite rudely, you don't understand me. Instead of saying that, you can use a more polite phrasing, perhaps I'm not making myself clear. What happens here is that you are shifting the blame onto yourself, making the listener understand that maybe you are not being able to make yourself clear. That creates a more congenial atmosphere in the professional space. Similarly, when you want to convey to somebody that they are not clear about something, you say, you were not clear about this point. Instead of saying that, you can say, I'm sorry, I didn't understand this point. So a simple change in the way we say things would work miracles, because you will see how your behavior in the workplace, in the professional sphere, will be of utmost importance in making your career a success. It is not always the skills that you bring along. It is also the way you are, the person that you are, the way you interact with other people, how other people see you. Do they see you as a polite person? Do they see you as a bossy or rude person? Depending on how you phrase, you are still making the same comments. You are still conveying the same ideas. But it is just the phrasing of the sentences that makes all the difference. Now, when we talk about politeness and etiquette in communication, in today's day and world, we are not only talking about verbal communication or person-to-person communication, face-to-face communication. We are also talking about communication through different media. For example, we communicate through emails, we communicate through WhatsApps and other instant messaging systems. We communicate through phones as well. Now, your politeness and behavior should be a part of all these communications. It should not be like this, that you are very polite when people talk to you in front of you face to face, but then you forget your manners when you're emailing or WhatsApping somebody. So this idea of politeness, this idea of etiquette should be there in any kind of communication that you are making with another person. Let us look at some examples. Let us look at some WhatsApp etiquettes. WhatsApp has become the most common form of communicating, the most common method of communicating instantly. We need something, we need to convey something, we instantly message somebody through WhatsApp. We as faculty members get a lot of messages from students which lack etiquettes, basic etiquettes. Just to give you an example, for example, it is very common for us to receive messages like, ma'am, I can't see my marks. Now you have to understand that when you send this message, you are not identifying yourself. You are not talking about what marks you want. You are not even addressing the problem correctly. So instead of saying that, how can you say it more politely when you're communicating to your teacher or somebody in authority or another person? You can first introduce yourself. But before that, you have to also greet that person. So say good morning or good evening or good afternoon, whatever is the time of the day, and begin your message with that. Good morning, ma'am. Then introduce yourself. I am so and so from so and so class, and I am unable to see my messages. Could you please check? What have you done? You have still communicated the whole idea, but in a much more polite manner. Not only have you communicated the idea politely, you have also made it easy for the receiver of this message to locate the problem, because here you have identified yourself. So the receiver will not have to sit and guess, okay, who is this person texting me? If your number is not saved in the receiver's phone, it will take a while for the receiver to respond. That will be unnecessary wastage of time. So when you communicate clearly and politely, you also save a lot of time, because you are actually inching towards a solution much faster by giving the necessary information. At the same time, you are also coming across as somebody who knows how to speak, who has etiquette, who has manners. So please remember this when you are WhatsApping, using WhatsApp for your conversations, especially with somebody who is known to you in the official manner. It's not an informal contact, but rather a formal contact. Please avoid number one, what we call as shouting. What is shouting? Shouting means using capitals in your messages. All caps is considered to be very rude internationally, and it is considered to be shouting. So if you write like this, can I talk to you now, with all capital letters, it is considered to be rude. So avoid writing like this. Many a times you are very tempted to use abbreviations in your WhatsApp communication. So instead of writing OK, you write K. Instead of writing yes, you write just the letter S. Then you use a lot of abbreviations like IMHO, ROFL, LOL. It is fine with your informal contacts, but not with your formal official contacts. Many times we see students or other people writing today with the number 2 and then day. Before, B, the letter B and the number 4. PPL for people, where you have dropped all the vowels. SRRY for sorry. These kind of communication creates a very negative impact to the recipient. It will not take you much time to type the whole word people. How many seconds are you going to save if you write SRRY instead of writing SORRY? If you are writing SRRY, it shows that you are not really sorry. You are insincere about it. When you are writing K or S instead of OK or YES, it shows that you are not really concerned about your recipient. You are not really giving importance to your recipient. This can be very, very damaging in the long run if you are using this kind of phrases in official, formal conversations. Similarly, using emojis, GIFs, memes should be done very, very carefully. It is better to avoid them in official or formal conversations. You must be able to converse with a formal contact on WhatsApp, just like how you would communicate with that person in face-to-face communication. Remember that in mind, that there is a difference between WhatsApping a friend and WhatsApping a formal contact. Similarly, etiquette should be followed for email communication as well. Let us look at some of the rules that we must follow while emailing somebody. Firstly, greet your contact properly. Include a greeting in your emails. Design the emails as you would write a formal letter. Greet people with salutations and titles, formal titles like Mr., Miss, Mrs. and so on, respected or dear, unless the person is known to you for a long time and you might be in informal communication with them. Secondly, always introduce yourself. Just like in a WhatsApp communication, the person to whom you are writing the email might not know you. So before going straight to your question or what you want to convey, it is important that you take time to briefly remind the person who you are, introduce yourself. Thirdly, do not write very long emails. Be very brief, positive, and friendly. Make it to the point. Use a friendly and polite tone and give an option if necessary to show you are willing to work with them. Fourthly, be polite. Remember to say please and thank you as necessary throughout the email. Even if you are upset, you want to write a rude email, please restrain yourself. Give yourself time before sending the email. And most importantly, before hitting the send button, please check and revise your email, because once sent, that is gone. You cannot rectify it. Many a times you also send to wrong groups. So please check that before you hit the send button. So just like any other communication, as you would communicate with a person, again, you would also follow certain things for telephone communication, right? Many similar things that we have already spoken about. Introducing and speaking permission to talk. It is better to take an appointment when you are speaking to somebody over telephone. Try to message that person in advance, take an appointment time, and then only give a call. Otherwise, there are chances that your call might not be received, or the person might be in the middle of something and might not be in a position to talk. So it is always better to fix an appointment, ask for permission if you could talk to that person, and then only call. Secondly, always speak clearly and talk important issues. With your formal contact, you don't have to talk about informal things. Get straight to the point and speak clearly. Make sure that the volume of your voice is correct. It should be neither too loud nor too soft. Do not use slang and be careful about your tone. Never eat or drink or interrupt during a phone call. Make sure that you are making the phone call the topmost priority activity for that moment. Listen more and speak less. Never interrupt when somebody is speaking on the other side. Try to listen what the other person is saying. In telephone conversation, use proper titles and salutations. Have patience to deal with upset situations. A telephone conversation is a little different from a WhatsApp conversation and an email conversation because you do not have time to sit and strategize and think about your response. It is something that is happening instantly, simultaneously with another person. So you have to be extra careful about how to deal with unpleasant situations. Where the situation is tense, you should not leave your politeness. Focus on the task other people may at hand and ask permission before placing a call on hold. So suppose you are getting another call or you have to put the call on hold, just don't put the person on hold or hang up the call. Rather, you should always communicate and you should be clear about your intentions. So if you follow these etiquettes in all your communications, whether you're communicating through a letter, whether you're communicating through messages or through a telephone conversation, you are bound to make a lasting impression on the person to whom you are speaking. And that is going to help you build your image in the long run. So before we end our discussion on verbal communication, let us remember to be tactful. Remember to be tactful, where T stands for thinking before you speak. A stands for apologizing quickly when you go wrong. C stands for communicating, do not argue. T stands for timing your comments. You should know when to say things and where to say things. F stands for focusing on behavior, not on personality. U stands for uncovering and resolving issues. And finally, L stands for listening for feedback. As I already told you, communication is a two-way process. Speaking is as much important as listening. Both go hand in hand. Now, when we talk about verbal communication, there is another aspect of communication that is not verbal, but is equally important. This is called non-verbal communication. Things that you convey about yourself, about your attitude, about the person that you are without speaking. They include your appearance, your body language, your expression, the dress that you wear, the kind of person that you present to the rest of the people. These are also very important for you to understand and accordingly act, because there are many things that are conveyed without a single word being used. Let us look at some of these examples and how we should be more aware and alert about the non-verbal cues that we are giving out without even speaking. The first thing that we need to understand regarding non-verbal communication is our body language. Body language is a form of non-verbal communication. It includes our postures, our gestures, facial expressions, and the moves we make that send signals that speak louder than words. Presentation and body language is a part of the way we express ourselves. It is very important for us to convey the right body language. Equally, if we are on the receiver's end, by observing a person's body language, we should be able to understand what the person is trying to convey without even speaking words. Let us look at some bad body languages, negative bad body language habits that are very hard to quit and they can have a negative impact on you. First one is fidgeting. It shows you are distracted, that you are not able to focus. Secondly, playing with your hair. Again, it conveys the same thing, that you are distracted, that you are not able to focus, that you are not paying attention. Thirdly, adopting a defensive pose by crossing your arms like this. This is a very, very defensive pose. It is not a friendly pose. We must avoid this. Fourthly, shuffling instead of walking. Fifthly, forgetting to smile. When your face does not convey friendliness, does not convey warmth, it is considered to be rude and a negative body language. 6, appearing distracted, either looking here and there or looking at something else, another piece of paper or your phone and so on. 7th, not keeping your spine straight, what we call as slouching. That's a negative body language. Number 8, non-existent or aggressive eye contact. Making an eye contact whenever you are speaking or listening is extremely important. And 9th, mismatching verbal and non-verbal communication. Your body language does not match what you are saying. These can be horrible body language habits that are very hard to quit. You need to be aware of these whenever you are communicating with others. Let us look at some more examples. Look at the pictures that are displayed. So we have a set of 4 pictures on the top and a set of 3 pictures at the bottom. The set of 4 pictures on the top are what we call as negative facial expressions. The first one shows disinterest. The person is not looking straight, not making eye contact. Rather, she is looking down. And if we see this in a listener, we know that this person is not interested in what we are speaking. Similarly, if we display this when we are listening to somebody, it shows that we are not interested or we are not paying attention. The second one is a lack of smile. It shows quite a rude face which is not exuding any warmth. So this is again perceived to be a body language where the person on the other side is not very friendly towards you, or the person is not liking what you are saying. You have to understand that. Similarly, if your face is like this when somebody is speaking to you, you are actually conveying negative emotions to the speaker. Look at the third one, arms crossed, which means that it is not a friendly gesture, it is not an open gesture. Not only that, the head is slightly tilted and there is a lack of smile, which again shows that the communication process is not going very well. And finally, of course, all of you know about this, yawning. A clear sign that the listener is bored or is sleepy and is not interested in what is being told. So we have to be careful about not conveying any of these body language cues when you are in a conversation. These are all non-verbal clues, but people can gauge. Similarly, you can also gauge in other people if you see any of these things being conveyed through their facial expressions and through their body language. Now look at the set of positive facial expressions right below. You can instantly make out that these are expressions that convey a more open communication, a more friendly situation. Look at the picture that is in the first slide. We see that he is smiling, he's looking straight. to the talker, which means that this person is listening with a friendly attitude and he is open to what you are saying. The second one is another body language that is very important. If you are not able to do it consciously, unconsciously, try to do it consciously. That is leaning forward a little bit. It shows interest. And also looking straight into the eyes of the speaker when you are speaking or listener. These are what we call as positive facial expressions, which show that the other person is friendly, is open to whatever is being said, is going to be friendly to you in terms of the communication that you are trying to make. Similarly, when you are communicating with the other person, your body language and your facial expressions should exude all of these emotions. Emotions of warmth, emotions of friendliness, emotions of interest, and emotions that are considered to be professional. The above examples are all unprofessional, negative facial expressions. This is a slide where you can look at 27 body language tricks to be instantly likable. You can go through all 27 of them. I'll just mention a couple of them. They include keeping your spine straight, sitting straight, not slouching, standing straight, not leaning on the wall, having a firm handshake with the other person, smiling warmly. It also includes eye contacts with the other person, touching somebody for empathy, gently touching somebody for empathy or to express some kind of sympathy or emotional connection. So these are small gestures that you can make, which will again be very, very helpful to you in the long run because it builds up your image as a person apart from the skills that you bring. Similarly, there are other examples like looking down or looking distracted, which should be avoided. You can see there is a cross that is made for crossing arms like this. This is an absolute no-no in any kind of communication because it exudes unfriendliness and defensive pose. Pose should be open. It should be friendly. So these are some of the things that you have to consciously keep in mind when you are communicating with the others so that you are not conveying things that you don't want to convey. Because there are many things that are conveyed through the way you look, the expressions that you carry, the way you use your body, the gestures that you make that are even louder than the things that you are saying through your verbal speech. Just like body language, gestures, and facial expressions, non-verbal communication also includes dressing and appearance. As we all know, one must dress according to the occasion. Any mismatch in the occasion and the kind of dress you are wearing is going to convey a wrong impression. So when you are going to a workplace, please dress appropriately that is conducive to that work environment. For boys also, dress is extremely important. Casuals are not usually allowed in the workplace, and one must be very careful about the kind of clothing one is carrying into the workplace. How you look matters. Everything about you, apart from your dress, your hair color, your hairstyle, the accessories that you are carrying, shoes, nails, tattoos. Everything matters to make a distinct image of you to the rest of the world. So when you look at yourself and you look at others, see what kind of an impression you are going to convey through the way you look. Because everything is going to communicate something about you, whether you speak about those things or not. There are certain things that you need to be careful in a professional space. The kind of hairstyle that you are carrying, the hair color that you are using, any kind of accessories that you are using, any kind of accessories that you are carrying, earrings, hair accessories, nail art, the kind of shoes you are wearing, the hairstyle you are sporting, as well as tattoos. You have to ask these questions about whether they're appropriate to the workplace for which you are going to work for. It might be appropriate for certain places, but in most conservative traditional places, these things are not really appreciated within the workplace. So the images that you see of here might be construed as inappropriate if it is a workplace that follows a more conservative protocol. So before you carry yourself and the whole of yourself, by yourself I do not mean only the person, the kind of dress that you are wearing, the kind of things that you are wearing along with you, you are carrying the whole self, the whole personality to your workplace. So before you carry yourself with all your elements, you must check whether it is appropriate for the place to which you are going to work. Now let us move on to the next segment of our talk, and that is how to represent soft skills on resume. As I already told you that many a times we do have soft skills, we do have many of the qualities that are required and they fall under the category of soft skills. But we really don't know how to bring that out in front of our potential employer or in our professional space. So we must know how to show that we do have these soft skills within us, as well as we should work towards building these soft skills for a larger picture, for a long-term success. So what we usually tell students is that you must show your soft skills on your resume, but you must show, not tell. Many a times we come across resumes where the skills are listed. People write, we have adaptability, we have the capacity to work in teams, we are empathetic, we are creative, we have excellent communication skills, we have leadership qualities. Many of these terms are listed on the resume. That is called as telling them that you have those things. But have you displayed? Have you shown them that you do have these things? That is more important. So in this segment, we are going to see how we can represent the soft skills that we might have in the form of showing and not only telling that we have these soft skills. Let us take these one by one. The categories that we are going to look at are teamwork, adaptability, problem solving, creativity, work ethic and self-motivation, interpersonal skills, time management and leadership qualities. Very, very important soft skills in today's day and age, which are extremely important for any employer to look for in a potential employee. Let us begin with teamwork. Teamwork is an extremely essential soft skill. Employers are always looking for candidates that are great at collaborating with a team. Teamwork skills help you operate well in a group and quickly and effectively accomplish tasks. In fact, teamwork is crucial for careers in market research, event coordination, and software engineering. These are some fields that definitely need teamwork, but apart from these also, every other field would need you to have these skills. Some examples of teamwork related skills are conflict management, active listening, collaboration, cooperation, coordination, and idea exchange. Now, how do you show that on your resume that you do have teamwork capacities? You can write something like this. You can highlight teamwork skills on a resume like this. Collaborated with a team of interns to launch so-and-so company's product. That is if you have some experience. Suppose you are a student and you still want to show some kind of teamwork capacity on your resume. Reasoning, persistence, observation, negotiation, brainstorming, and decision making. How can you represent this on your resume? You can write a sentence like this: analyze factors contributing to poor sales and developed a new upselling strategy, raising profits by an average of so and so monthly. So this is a way of showing that you have problem solving skills if you have job experience. Many a times in job interviews, you might be asked problem solving interview questions. Here are some sample job interview questions which you may go through. You will see that all these questions will test whether you are able to solve problems in the workplace instantly. Okay, so you might be asked a question like, how would you deal with a customer who's angry, who's not happy, and it is not even your fault? What is going to be your approach? Or you might be asked a question like, you are working on a project and you're halfway through it, and somewhere you have come across a block. How do you proceed from there? How do you restart the project so that you finish it within the deadline? Or you can be asked a question like, you are working on something and there is an important component of that project which has to be completed by another colleague who is not currently available. How will you proceed from that? So these are real life situations which might be given to you as interview questions, and you must be able to come up with a solution. The focus of the problem solving skill here is to come up with a solution through a method of thinking that will be offering a resolution to the problem. Going on to the next skill, creativity. This is a broad soft skill that can range from helping you develop innovative solutions to being an effective graphic designer. In fact, creativity is considered by some experts as the most important skill of the future. We all know that. We have been extremely creative in changing and in coming up with innovative techniques to cope with the current situation that we are dealing with. Types of creative skills can include divergent thinking, inspiration, imagination, reframing, insight, innovation, experimenting, and questioning. How do you display creativity skills on your resume so that you can show your potential employers you do have? Here, the keyword that you are going to use is new and innovative. You have to use the terms to talk about what new things you have done. So, for example, you may say, helped building new branding for promotional materials. In a student resume where you might not have any job experience, you can mention any new method applied, any new innovation, or any unique approach or idea that you might have come across during your course of study. The keywords here are new, innovative, unique. These are the terms that relate to the concept of creativity. Moving on to the next important skill, that is work ethic and self-motivation. The foundation for any great employee work ethic is one of the most basic, widely transferable soft skills there is. By showcasing your work ethic, you communicate to your employers that you believe in the importance of work and the value of putting forward your best effort. Soft skill examples related to work ethic include honesty, responsibility, discipline, initiative, dependability, commitment, professionalism, teamwork, and time management. As you can see, many of these qualities are actually moral qualities that an employer would be looking in you apart from the skills that you are bringing to his or her company. How will you show your work ethic on your resume? You can say that, for example, I took a charge on a strategy presentation, working overtime to ensure that it got completed by the deadline, which shows that you are so committed to your work that you are able to complete something beyond the hours that are required of you. In the student resume, you can talk about the extra courses, the projects, the diploma courses, the self-study courses that you have done beyond curriculum, which shows your self-motivation and work ethics. Moving on to the next one, that is interpersonal skills, which we also call as the networking skills. These are skills that refer to your ability to communicate well and interact with others, maintain relationships, and otherwise leave a positive impression on people. Examples of skills related to interpersonal skills include empathy, humor, sensitivity, patience, tolerance, public speaking, positive reinforcement, and diplomacy. Basically, it is about how likable you are to other people, to your clients, to your colleagues. That is a very, very important quality that you are bringing to your company. An example of showcasing interpersonal skills in the experience section of your resume, you can mention something like this: develop positive lasting relationships with regular customers, encouraging them to return frequently. In a student resume, You can talk about the collaborations that you might have done with people beyond your immediate peer group, which shows that you are a social kind of a person who's able to go out of your comfort zone and is able to forge relationships with other people, and you are a likable personality. Next, time management. Extremely important. It describes your ability to work efficiently and productively by using your time wisely. Most employers appreciate this soft skill, but it's particularly important if you are a project manager, middle manager, or work in loss prevention or legal fields. Some skills related to time management skills include goal setting, prioritizing, self-starting, planning, decision-making, focus, stress management, organization, and of course, not procrastinating. How can you showcase this skill on your resume? You can talk about how you might have completed projects within schedule, keeping a regular checkups, ensuring that all the collaborators were staying on task. In a student resume, your extracurricular activities are going to be your highlight for time management skills, because they show that apart from your curriculum and what is being done in college, you can also go out and do other things and still manage time. So basically what we see here is that you might have all the soft skills that are required in the industry. It's just that you have to showcase and you have to show and highlight in the appropriate manner the various soft skills that will be valued in the professional field wherever you go. Coming to leadership skills, another very important soft skills which refer to your ability to mentor others, train new people that are coming to the company, and guide teams. Strong leadership skills are also one of the most essential qualities when it comes to taking on more responsibility and being promoted within a company. Employers are always looking for reliable candidates with strong leadership skills to help them grow their companies. Some other skills associated with leadership include empathy, selflessness and humility, listening, management skills, cultural intelligence, authenticity, versatility, trust, and mentorship. How can we again showcase leadership skills? For example, if you can write a sentence like, I led a team of 10 engineers and I guided them towards a successful completion of a particular project. Student resume, if you are part of the student council, you are a project lead, you are a CR and an SCR, or you have taken up any other leadership role anywhere else, please focus on that, because that is a very, very important skill for a potential employer. So, coming to a conclusion of this talk, throughout the journey that you are going to take here, the number of years that you have left in college before you hit the job market, it is very important for you to build all the soft skills along with the hard skills that you are learning. Here are some steps to improve your soft skills. First of all, be open to feedback. Unless you receive feedback, you will not be growing as a person. Secondly, communicate often. Thirdly, emphasize on teamwork. If there is an opportunity to work alone and work as part of a team, choose teamwork, because that adds to your soft skills. Build positive relationships with people. Do not burn your bridges, basically. Step outside of your comfort zone. Try to do something new, innovative. Get ready to learn. Adapt to workplace changes. Observe others. Work through conflict. Try to resolve issues if there is a problem. Take on a leadership role. Arrive to work on time. Take initiative and do beyond what is assigned. If you are able to do this, not only now, but even later in the long run, I'm sure success will be all yours. So finally, to conclude, more and more businesses are considering soft skills as an important job criteria. An increase in service industry emphasizes the need for soft skills, and soft skills are important not only in the professional life, but also in the personal life. Thank you so much.